Hello, 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 YouTube sphere. We in here. It's Real Estate Tuesday. Happy, tantalizing, terrific, triumphant Tuesday. Let me get my Facebook going. Hello, Facebook. It is Real Estate Tuesday. Get IG going. You know, I got to start off with a smile. It's Real Estate Tuesday. Are you excited? Let me fix myself. I'm excited. And today I'm talking to the first time home buyers. So get in here, get in here, get in here. And on my YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe on my YouTube channel. Please, please, please. I appreciate you. Share it out to people you feel needs this information. I am your go-to realtor here in the beautiful city of Detroit and the surrounding areas, but I can help you anywhere you are. I have connections west, east, south, Midwest, wherever you are, I have some connections because I'm steady, steady, steady growing my network of people. And I just love helping, I should say assisting and educating people. That's what I do. So, just a little bit about me. I always tell my story. The reason why I'm so passionate about real estate is because of the hard money lesson I had to learn. And I don't want other people to have to learn that hard money lesson. So, with that, this is my story. So, I bought a house in 2010 in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm from Detroit. So, what up, though, to all my Detroit people? But I was living in Memphis at the time. And I bought a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, fell in love with the house, 2.5-bathroom house, 2,700 square feet for 150,000. That's unheard of these days, right? So, you know, did all the right things to get in there. I was financially literate enough to get in. I was not financially literate enough to keep my house. Okay. No, I didn't go into foreclosure, but I stayed in my home for 9 years. I did not take care of it. I did not do any routine maintenance. I didn't have a maintenance fund. I did not keep up my insurance properly. I didn't do all of the things. And I basically squandered what God had given me. And in 2019, I had to sell my house at a short sale. What a short sale is, you don't get anything. Everybody else get paid but you. Just understand. Everybody get paid but you. And it hurt my heart. And I had to sell it for 167,000 because I was behind on my mortgage and all of the things. And it also needed some work done. And when after I sold my house a year later, I saw that the values, that's when I first started getting into real estate for real in 2020. When I first started getting into real estate for real, I just started learning. I started looking at the value. So it went from 167 to like over 200. Then once COVID hit, full swing COVID 2021, it was at 225. Um, Once the end of 2021 came, it was at 250. By the time 2022 came along, it was 275. When 2023, when I left Memphis, it was over 300,000. If I would have kept my house and sold it when I left Memphis, I would have had a $200,000 bag. I fumbled a $200,000 bag, people. And I don't want you to do the same thing because I didn't understand how real estate worked. And I wasn't financially literate enough. Like when you say financial literacy, it's levels to it. Okay. It's not just the baseline things where, you pay your bills on time and you get your credit together and you don't have any negative items that's all good and gravy. But it's more than that. So I became passionate because I'm an educator. As you can see, I'm in my classroom. I became passionate about educating people about real estate, how they can use their real estate, their personal home to be able to become wealthy. And I know a lot of people are going to debunk that, oh, personal home, you got a loan, da, da, da. Yes, but you have to learn how to use the equity in your home in order to be able to build that wealth. So today I'm talking to the first time home buyers, my favorite subject, favorite people, favorite demographic, however you want to put it out there, right? So I'm talking about student loans. Oh, yes. And how they have either had people denied for credit, for a home loan or whatever the case may be. We're talking about student loans, right? So, student loans does not kill your deal, okay? Student loans don't kill your deal, okay? It seems like it does, but it doesn't. So a lot of people think that their student loans are preventing them or will prevent them from buying a home. It does not. So many buyers think student loans equal automatic denial. That's absolutely not true. So in reality, it's about how the lenders calculate your debt to income ratio, not just your balance. Okay. So you have lenders out there that don't even count your student loans, especially if you're not paying on them. They're in deferment, or you got a low payment or a zero pay. It's only when you have a large payment when it comes into play. So, for example, if you have 50K in student loans, I got 150, trying to get those things X'd up out of here. You have a 50K, $50,000 in student loans. That doesn't weigh the same across FHA, conventional USDA loans. So it all depends on what loan type you get, and also where you are in your payment of your student loan. So FHA assumes 1% of the balance or the actual payment, whichever is higher. So it's only 1% of your balance or your actual payment. 1%. So for me, 1% of 150,000 is 1,500. So it's not weighed as heavy as you think. So for example, you owe 40K, but you pay 150. On the income driven repayment plan, which some still can get that, FHA may calculate it as $400 a month, which is 1%. But if they see your actual payment is 150, then they're using that. So the strategy is to work with a lender who understands the FHA guidelines, or consider conventional if you were in a low repayment plan. So conventional doesn't have as much of a stringent debt to income ratio. So that is what you would choose. Come on, IG. So it just all depends on your loan type. That's how that works, right? So if your loan type is FHA weighs it heavier than conventional. So, but FHA is good for first-time home buyers because of the fact that it makes sure that your house is intact all the way. Conventional, you can have an inspection, but it's not, it's not required. Of course, it's got to have a appraisal, but inspection is not required. In an FHA loan, inspection is required. So they'll make sure they got every nook and cranny. It's just like a Section 8 inspection. And when you get those, those of you that have Section 8 and you know those Section 8 inspectors, or you're a landlord and you had those Section 8 inspectors, and they come in and they see every little tick-tacky thing, that's what FHA reminds you of. So make sure that you're understanding the loan type. So another loan type is conventional loans, right? How does conventional loans treat it? So Fannie Mae, Fannie Mac, that's what we're talking about. So how does conventional loans treat it? So conventional loans usually takes your actual payment if it shows on your credit report. See what I'm saying? See the terminology? Okay, so let's back up. The FHA loan takes 1% of your balance or your actual payment. Conventional only counts your actual payment towards uh, your debt to income ratio for your student loans. So that's what you have to know, the terminology. But for a conventional loan, you have to have certain things on your credit report. So FHA loans are a little bit more lenient when it comes to borrowers, but conventional, you have to have a certain credit score and a certain credit profile in order to get a conventional loan. So that's the difference in that. So if you're a zero income based repayment, IBR, Fannie Mae may use 0.5% of the balance, while Freddie may use the documented IBR payment. So if it's zero, it doesn't count. So that's the difference between FHA. FHA takes your 1% of your balance or your actual payment. So you have to understand when you're going to the lenders, asking them, what type of loan type am I getting? I have student loans. What are you going to count? Are you going to count my actual payment? Or are you going to count my actual balance? That's what you need to find out. So, for example, for the conventional loans, right? If you have 60K in student loans with a zero IBR, that's income-based repayment, conventionals could count $300 a month or sometimes zero, depending on the documentation. So you have to get with the right realtor that's going to write it up for you. That's, well, not the realtor, the lender. You got to get a good realtor, but you need to make sure that you're getting with the right lender who's going to write that up correctly for the underwriters. Because yes, you get a pre-qualified and pre-approved, two different things. I usually tell my clients to go ahead and go under underwriting so they already know exactly what is they go, because underwriters they're gonna look under the rocks, the sand, they're gonna turn over every stone. So please don't lie to them either. So that's the conventional. So with USDA loans. So USDA loans are only used in what they call rural areas or a population depending on your state is either 20 to 30,000 people population. So some cities in Michigan do. That's not rural, okay? That's in the suburbs that have that qualification. So you have to know what the USDA qualification is for that city. So, because it's either between 10, 20, or 30,000 people population is what USDA, you can use the USDA loan. So it's not just for farmland. Okay, you can still use a USDA loan in the suburbs. It just has to have under the USDA population requirement. So with the USDA loan it's more like FHA when it comes to student loans. So they use 0.5% of the loan balance or the documented payment. So they're not using 1%; they're only using 0.5%. So if your loan balance is 30K, then your 30K balance, then that equals to $150 a month added to your DTI, even if your actual payment is lower. So they're using it, even even if your actual payment is lower, they're still using that 0.5% to 0.5% of your balance. So you have to know your loan type. That's what we're talking about here. So let's recap a little bit before I go on. So FHA loans use 1% of your loan balance. You're talking about student loans, your student loan balance, or they use your actual payment. So if your actual payment is lower than that 1%, you want the lender to use that actual payment. If the 1% is lower than the actual payment, and vice versa. So you have to get with the right lender, but you have to have the knowledge in order to let them know that you know what they can use and cannot use. Okay. Conventional loans are a little different. They use your, if you had an income-based repayment plan and it's at zero, they'll use that zero. Or, sometimes it could count it depending on your, they do a 0.5% as well. Depending on your loan balance, they could count that 0.5%. But if you get the right lender who will write it up correctly, they'll use that $0 IBR, which does not count. If you got a zero payment, it doesn't count against your debt to income ratio. I'm a teacher, so I'm in an income-based repayment program. And because I'm a teacher, matter of fact, I got to recertify because I moved to another school. But that's on my list. But if you're in certain situations where you're in there, you got a zero balance, a zero payment, that's not counting against you. You got to get it written up correctly. So for a strategy for buyers that are using USDA law, so buyers in rural and suburban areas should weigh the USDA versus FHA to see which benefits them more. So if you're in a suburban suburban or rural area, rural or suburban area. Like I said, the population between 10 to 30,000 maximum. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that it's the farmland or anything, but it could be a suburb. If they only have 10 to 20, 10 to 30,000 population, you can use a USDA loan. But when you're talking about your student loans and you go in and talk to the lender, you want to see which one is going to be best for you. If it's going to be the FHA loan that uses 1% of your balance or your actual payment, or is it going to be the USDA loan who only uses a 0.5% of your loan balance or your actual payment? And you just have to know, like in Detroit, you can't use that because we have a population of more than that. But if you go into if you want to go into the different suburbs, you can use a USDA loan. So what does this mean for home buyers, right? We're talking about student loans and what loans are best for you, because a student loan does not kill your deal. Okay. You can kill your deal, but a student loan doesn't kill your deal. So if it's not student loan debt equals no home, that is not true. It's about choosing the right loan product. And that's where people make a mistake. You don't choose the right loan product. So, for example, same buyer, same 50K in debt, FHA might count $500 a month. Conventional might count $200 a month. USDA might count $250 a month. That difference can raise or lower your buying power by tens of thousands. So you have to weigh your options. So when you're going into the lender and you're having a conversation and you have if you have a credit score that could get you to the conventional and you're moving to a city that is, 10 to 30,000 people population, then you can say you have choices. And you're going to ask the lender, which is best for me? Are you using an FHA loan that uses the 1%? Are you using the conventional that uses a 0.5%? Are you using the USDA that uses a 0.5% or my IBR payment? You have to know that. And when you're asking these questions to the lender, because you need to have some knowledge. Don't let them just tell you anything. You need to be knowledgeable of these loan products. Be knowledgeable of these loan products when you go in to talk to the lender and when you have student loans and if you have a credit score that's above, 650 or more, especially if you're in the 700s, you have options. If you're moving to a city that has 10 to 30,000 people, you have options. You can use an FHA, conventional, or a USDA loan. But you're living in a big city, you only got FHA, you got conventional. So you had to figure out which one fits best with your buying power. If your buying power is still good after use the 1%, maybe you don't have a lot of other debt or whatever the case may be. So just understand, FHA uses 1% of your student loan balance or the actual payment. You want them to use the actual payment if it's lower. Conventional uses a 0.5% of your actual balance or your repayment. USDA is either or as well. They use a 0.5%, either your loan balance or the actual payment that you're paying. But you have to see which numbers works best for you. Like I said, if you live in a city that's larger than 30,000, you can't use USDA. So, what is your financial literacy strategy? Because I am a real estate agent who operates and uses financial literacy strategies to help my clients get to where they want to be. Okay, so understand that. I don't understand why this is still the wrong link that's pinned, but it won't change it. But anyway, so always get pre-approved with multiple loan types. Okay, if you have the room, you only want them to do one inquiry and see which loan type works. Do not allow them to do multiple inquiries for each loan type. No, they have your information. They can plug it in to which one is best for you. Don't let them run your credit 3 times. You only need to do it once. They have your information. Tell me which one is best for me. They work for you. Ask lenders, how are you counting my student loans into my DTI, which is debt to income ratio? That's another thing that you have to ask. How are they counting your debt to income ratio according with your student loans? Are they doing 1% of the actual balance, a half percent of the actual balance, or the actual payment. Okay. Leverage repayment programs plus the wrong type, the a bright loan type can loan product type can increase your home buying power. So you have to make sure you got the loan right repayment program, and also the right loan product. So I tell my clients when they're about to go in, they're thinking about buying a house, see if you can lower that payment by being in a 0%, just zero payment, just until you close on the house. You can go back and pay on it, when you want. But when you're purchasing your home, okay, you want that zero. You want that zero. All right. So, hassling, but you want to make sure that you're getting the right loan type. You want to make sure that your student loans are intact, right? So, let's recap. All right, because I'm done. It's lunchtime for me. So I'm talking about student loans and how they affect your home buying power, right? People think because they have high student loan debt, I have 150,000, y'all, and it's not going to stop me. So you have to make sure that you're understanding your loan type and making sure that you are knowing your credit score where you are, because if you have a lower credit score, usually 650 or below, FHA is the only one you're going to be able to do, and USDA, depending on where you're going to buy. If you buy in a big city, you cannot use USDA. If the population is over 30,000, typically, you cannot use a USDA loan. So just understand FHA loans count 1% of your loan balance, or they use your actual payment. And if your actual payment is lower than your that 1%, then you want your lender to use that one. Conventional uses 1%, I mean half a percent of your loan balance and or your actual payment. So understand that. It's either or as well, but they might still go back and do that half percent if you got a zero. But hopefully they'll take the zero. You got a lender that'll work with you. USDA, it's the same. It's a half a percent of the loan balance or your documented payment. So if you're in a rural area that only has a population of 30,000 or below, you can use USDA. So with the lower credit score, FHA at USDA is your best loan products. With a higher credit score, anything, high sixes, 680, 700, and above, you can probably use a conventional. So if you have the higher credit score, the more loan product options you have. And let's not forget the FHA 203K loan that helps you buy an ugly house and fix it up to your standards. Okay? But they still follow the same FHA guidelines. So that's it, y'all. I just wanted to come and just debunk the myth that student loans are going to kill your deal. It's not. Talk to a professional who knows what they're doing. Talk to a professional who knows what they're doing so that you can make sure that you are getting the best loan type for you, and make sure that you know what you're doing. Go in there asking the right questions. Asking how do they calculate your student loans? What are the best loan products for you? What does this mean for your home buying power? All of these things you need to be asking. So if you need a step-by-step detail of how all of this works, you can purchase my ebook, Journey to Your Castle, at a nominal price. And it's going to take you from concept to goal setting to mindset all the way to closing trade. Because when you buy a house, your financial literacy is stepping up. Once you get into the house, you have to step up again. So I have that for homeowners. If you're a homeowner already, House Rich and Money Smart, I show you how to turn that liability into an asset. It's phenomenal. You ask the people that bought it. I get some reviews. So with that being said, please like, follow, share, subscribe. Share this with someone who needs this information. And if you want some more education, I will be doing a Zoom class tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about real estate, first-time home buyers. Let's go. He's here. I'm here to let you to. I want you to win, baby. You're a winner, baby. As Diana Ross said in Mahogany, I'm a winner. You are a winner. And I'm gonna show you how to win in real estate. If you choose me, which you should. Have an amazing day. Enjoy the rest of the day. I'm back in it. Now it's time for lunch. See you later. Gotta stop that. See you later, YouTube and IG. My YouTube is Fear.